Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the City of Bellflower's 2017 State of the City Program and Luncheon. I am Ron Schnobliger, Mayor Pro Tem, and I'm proud to be here today as you're in the great city of Bellflower. We appreciate all of you joining us here today as we take a look at the many changes that we have seen in our community and the ways we are shaping the city of Bellflower. A little bit later, Mayor Dan Coops will be giving you a brief recap of the 2016 year and a glimpse into what is coming in 2017 and beyond. This is a landmark year for our city of Bellflower. It's our 60th anniversary. That means that 60 years ago today, Bellflower was incorporated, leading us into our theme for today's event, celebrating our history and shaping our destiny. Before we get started today, I would like to invite Pastor Gary Ansdale to join me. Pastor Ansdale serves as the community at Hosanna Christian Fellowship and is going to lead us in an invocation. He is also the Sheriff's Department chaplain. So, Mr. Ansdale.
Bow our hearts before the Lord. Father, we thank you for a community that's just rich with heritage, structural foundations that's unshakable. We thank you, Lord, that this country is made of communities like this, and we're proud to be a part of it. We thank you, God, for all those that have been in leadership, everything from business to the practical aspects of the politics in the land to be the driving force for the city. We thank you for each and every one of them, and for those that serve today in every capacity. God, we celebrate that servanthood, and we celebrate the structure of the city, the way it's going, the future thinking of it. It's a joy to be a part of this town. We pray, Lord, for your blessings upon everything from the meal today to the fellowship to the future of what you want to establish here. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Pastor Ansdale. Next, I would like to invite Mr. Chad Vandenberg to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the national anthem sung by Pedro Fregoso. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Vandenberg. For some of you that might not know, Mr. Vandenberg was involved in a tremendous incident in which he suffered a major injury, and we want to give him the recognition he has. He's a hero. He suffered this while he was serving the citizens of Bellflower and protecting us each and every day. So, Mr. Vandenberg, we want to thank God that you're still here and recuperating. And if we could give you a round of applause.
Good morning. Would you join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance by placing your right hand over your heart? Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, thank you. And Pedro, are you going to sing for us now? Okay.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose vast stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly
Very well done. Thank you so very much for being a part of this. Thank you, Pedro, and thank you, Mr. Vandenberg. You can be seated. It doesn't say that, so I didn't know to say it. At this time, I would like to take a moment to recognize some of our other guests we have with us today. From the City of Bellflower, we have Mayor Dan Coops, City Council Member Ray Dutton, Council Member Juan Garza, and Council Member Sonny Santillanes. I would like to introduce some local representatives as well. From Senator Tony Mendoza's office, please welcome Aldo Ramirez. From Assemblyman Cristina Garcia's office, we have Edgar Estrada. If you would also please welcome Linda Johnson from Supervisor Janice Hahn's office. Also, please welcome the Bellflower Unified School District Board. We have President Dr. Sue L. Hessen. We have Vice President Laura Sanchez Ramirez. Clerk Debbie Quadros. Member Dr. Paul Helzer. And last but not least, my brother, who I love very much, Jerry the Wolfman Jack Cleveland. Also with us today is Superintendent Dr. Brian Jacobs. From the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, we have Captain Alan Castanero, Lieutenant Tim Millman, from the LA County Fire Museum, President Captain Paul Schroeder. Thank you for joining us. I would also like to introduce some of the key city staff. We have City Manager Jeff Stewart, City Clerk Mara Ochiki, City Attorney Carl Berger, Assistant City Manager Lee Mingle, Economic Development Director Jim Delalaga, Planning Director Art Boschma, Finance Director Tay Ray, Parks and Recreation Director and the person in charge of putting this on, PJ Milano, Public Safety Director Joel Hockman, and last but not least, Public Works Director Lynn Grecky. I would also like to welcome our past mayors that are with us today. Please welcome Mr. Mike Bouchard and Scott Larson. Please join me in welcoming and thanking our exceptional public safety personnel with us today from the Los Angeles County Fire Department, the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, as well as our brave citizens who are serving in all branches of the armed forces. Would you guys please stand and be recognized? You guys got to stand up or you got to do it. It says it on the paper. Thank you for all that you do for our community each and every day in protecting the lives of our citizens in Bellflower. We would also like to recognize all of our other public officials, commissioners, and community organization members for being here today. We appreciate each of your taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us. At this time, I would like to invite my council colleagues to join me up here at the podium. We would like to take this opportunity to honor an organization that has recently made Bellflower its home and continues to make Bellflower a better place to live, work, and play. This year, we would like to honor Habitat for Humanity of Greater Los Angeles for all the work they have done in the city of Bellflower. In 2014, they opened Habitat Restore here in town, and more recently, in 2016, they broke ground on a 6-unit affordable housing project on Ramona Street. We are thankful for the work that Habitat has done for our local community and would like to invite CEO Aaron Rank up to accept the award.
So, Aaron, we have for you a certificate that says Habitat for Humanity. City of Bellflower salutes Habitat for Humanity of Greater Los Angeles for providing affordable housing opportunities locally. We commend you on your dedication to Bellflower community and wish you continued success. Signed by Dan Coops, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem Ron Schnableger, Councilmember Ray Dunton, Councilmember Juan Garza, Councilmember Sonny Inez, dated February 23rd, 2017. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Would you like to say a few words?
Well, thank you very much to the City Council for recognizing Habitat for Humanity here today. We love being an integral part of the City of Bellflower. Since we came here in 2014, the city has welcomed us with open arms. It's been great to work with the council and the staff. And even though Habitat for Humanity, our name is of Greater Los Angeles, and we work with 51 cities, Bellflower is our home, and everywhere we go, we tell people that Bellflower is an extremely business-friendly place, and also now is taking the forefront in affordable housing. So we have over 100 employees that work out of our office here in Bellflower, and we're really excited about the 6 homes that we're building on Ramona. There are 6 townhomes, and the families have been selected. They're veterans and accountants and nurses, and there's some great families that are from Bellflower who will be moving into those homes. And they're building their homes now if the rain will allow us to keep going. But they're moving along nicely. We welcome you to come out and lift the hammer and volunteer with us, or come to visit our Restore if you haven't already. So thank you very much for the recognition. We're really proud to be part of the City of Bellflower.
Let's go over here and we'll take a picture.
Thank you, Aaron, and the entire Habitat for Humanity organization for all of your hard work. At this time, I would like to get to the most important part of the business luncheon, lunch. Please enjoy your lunch today, which is catered by Cafe Camellia, and enjoy the rest of the program.
Good afternoon to everybody. Thanks for coming out today. I appreciate the great attendance we have in the room. And as you heard, I'm Dan Coops, and I'm currently the Mayor of Bellflower. Kind of coming to the end of my term as mayor, so this is probably one of the last events I'll do as your mayor. I'm hoping to get reelected again, and we'll try it again in 4 or 5 years, but I'm just glad to be here today with you. When I get the choice of making who does the invocation, who gives the pledge, I chose Gary Ansdale because back to what we're going to talk about today, looking back in history a little bit, Gary and I grew up in this town about 5 years apart. We went to Ramona School across the street, learned to read about 100 yards from here, had the same teachers, played in this park, So I just thought it would be appropriate for him to be with us today. And his dad, of course, was John Ansdale, our past mayor. Now, we're talking about Bellflower in 60 years of anniversary. That's this year, 1957, we were incorporated. I've been around all that time plus 5 more, so I'm proud to say I'm the oldest city employee at 65 years old. But today we're going to look back at some of our history and look forward to the future. And I always like to start off with a little story, and the one goes about, our organization, as all cities, we're a service organization, so good service is what we're about. Ronald Reagan tells the story of how, when the Soviet Union was still intact, that only 1 in 7 families owned a car. And if you wanted to buy a car, you went to an agency and you paid all your money up front, and then the man behind the counter would ask, or would tell you that your car would arrive in 10 years. So that's what happened. The gentleman went in there, and he says, in 10 years, you'll have your car. And he gave him the day, and then the gentleman who bought the car asked, will it be in the morning or in the afternoon for the delivery? And the Soviet representative said, well, what difference does that make? He says, well, the plumber's coming in the morning. So with that, I'll get up my clicker here. And you guys recognize Bellflower Boulevard on the past, some of you do. And you can see the present and the future in the bottom right-hand corner. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about the city of Bellflower. And there's the different items. We've got the economy and finance. We've got the economic development. We're going to talk about public works. We're going to do the planning and building services and code enforcement. And then, of course, city clerk. Now, this graph will show that 2012 to 2000, or down to 2016 there, the unemployment rate. So we were clocking at about 11%, and we've got it down to about 4.3%. So that's a good thing. The red line is Bellflower. The blue line is Los Angeles County. So you can see we're staying with the trend. This is the median housing prices in Bellflower. Back in 2012, we were about $275,000, $300,000. And you see the red line is Los Angeles County. And I think the median price now, I'll look in my notes, right around $473,000 at this point in time. Over the last 3 years, 2014 to 16, the median housing price has increased by about 25%. So, good things. All right, now here's a story of our total revenue. We have what we call discretionary funds. That's the area on the right. And then at the top there, we have the restricted funds. And that pretty well tells the story. At $41.2 million, that's our budget. The discretionary funds are typically from the general fund and can be used as council's discretion, whereas restricted funds are directed by law and are granted agencies to be used for specific items. Examples of restricted funds are expenditures for transportation, capital project, and local law enforcement. Revenue sources. Because the revenue includes taxes, it includes governmental grants, investment earnings, fines and forfeitures, charges for services, license and permits. And the largest revenue source at 63% is of our sales and property utility user taxes and some transportation taxes. So that's pretty well self-explanatory, but you can kind of see how it breaks down to how we get our money into the city. This chart here talks about the property tax increment. And what we've got here is basically you'll see that 63% of the tax revenues come from property tax. Of that property tax, the city receives 6.66 cents of every dollar. That means that Los Angeles County collects 48 cents, and the local schools get 45 cents, and then we're left with the 6.6 cents. Sales tax distribution. Another component of the overall 63% tax revenue comes from sales tax. The current sales tax rate is 8.75%. And it'll be going back, in fact, it'll go to 9.25 on July the 1st of this year because of the Measure M transportation tax. So there gives the breakdown of how our sales tax goes. Now here's our general fund reserve. And we've made this up to show that $8 million that you see at the bottom, that's a constant figure. That's our rainy day money. We never want to touch that. In case we have some sort of a catastrophe, we have the money to take care of the problem. But at the other part of the graph, the upper end, you'll see that in 2006 and 7, we were up to $10 million in reserve, which would give us a total of $18 million. Now, we've had some erosion here, but you can see we're coming back strong there, and that in 2006 we were really kind of hurting, but now in 2015 and 16 we've increased the fund by $900,000, and so we're back up to about $13.3 million in our reserves. This shows our general fund revenues. We kind of bottomed out there 11, 12, and then we start coming back again. Tay Ree, our financial director, always makes us include in there the adjusted CPI so that we don't think we're really doing well, in case it's in balance here. I think 2012, Ray Dutton was mayor. That's when things went to pot. No. Ah, you're here. Public safety. There you go, public safety. You know, this is the basis for everything. Who wants to live in a town where you don't feel safe? And so we have some things that we do to keep the lid on this place. All right, online platforms. I'm going to read this to you a little bit here because over the past year, we've had an increase of online presence. The Public Safety Department utilizes a special Facebook page and multiple neighborhood information sharing applications known as Nixle and Nextdoor. Our Facebook page allows public safety to send alerts and monitor and receive updates from the residents. You can like or follow our page anytime. Nexle and Nextdoor are applications that require people to register in order to use the special features. These applications allow individual users to post announcements, ask questions of neighbors, and receive updates on criminal activities, missing persons, local events, and everything like that. I have a personal experience on this. About a month ago, my son had his car stolen, and the contents of the car were spewing in the Riverview Park. Everything that was in the car was there. Someone happened to come by and notice my little granddaughter, Savannah, had her name on a backpack, and that was posted. And they said, "Who's Savannah Coops?" Well, that's the mayor's granddaughter. And so they recovered all the contents of the car. And then 2 weeks later, they got the car back. And I got to tell the rest of the story. So I gave my daughter-in-law a $1,000 check for Christmas, and she went out and bought a $950 stroller. I don't know what a $950 stroller looks like. It must have had a motor on it or something. So anyway, she said, that the stroller was in the car. I lost the stroller. Her Christmas gift was gone. And, you know, I hate to see girls cry because I don't do that well. And so I got my checkbook out and wrote it in a check for $1,000. Oh, yeah. So she goes home and the stroller is still in the garage. Now, the stories I tell, I don't make this stuff up. This is my life. All right, we have the Citizens Academy. In 2016, the Public Safety Department, in conjunction with the Los Angeles County Sheriff Department, conducted our first Citizens Academy. The Academy serves as an excellent opportunity for citizens to experience firsthand some of the challenging responsibilities our law enforcement officers face each and every day. They do don't shoot situations to handling family disturbances and how investigations are conducted. Those who attended the past Citizens Academy gained insight as to the Sheriff's Department and how they do their job here in the city of Bellflower. And so it's been a really neat thing. We had about 20 participants. We had them evaluated after the sessions were over, and we're going to do it again in the fall. So this talks about our overall Part 1 crime rate. And you can see that we've had our dips, and we have them coming up a little bit over there on the right-hand side. In the past 3 years, the overall Part 1 crime has risen, similar to trends of neighboring cities. Now, ours has gone up a little bit, but our neighboring cities, and I'm not going to mention any names because I don't want to throw them under the bus, they've gone up a whole lot more than we have. And so we're doing good, but we're doing better than our neighbors. Now, one of the things that we faced with here is Proposition 47 and AB 109. Now, you heard about this just recently when we lost that law enforcement gentleman in Whittier. That just went down, and you saw a picture of the gentleman who they accused of doing this, and those are the kind of people that are being let out early because the state says they don't have enough money to keep them incarcerated. They put them back into society, and that really is a problem for us to try to keep law and order because, as you all know, Bellflower is 68% non-owner occupied. So there's plenty of places for them to live in this town, and we monitor them and try to keep track of them. But every once in a while they get out of the box and they do something really stupid, and then we second guess our good governor about what happened with AB 109 and Proposition 47. Proposition 47 took felony implications and made them into misdemeanors. So that got a lot more folks out of jail that probably should still be there. Context of Part 1 increases. To address overcrowded prisons and the revolving door of low-level inmates cycling in and out of the state prison. So that's exactly what I was just talking about. AB 109, which is put in 2011, Proposition 47, 2014, that has really put a big dent or a big implications here in our Bellflower for more enforcement. Part 1 crime rate over a 45-year trend. So you can see back in 1971, and it kept growing. You know, when you see that big pitch at the top there, that's Bellflower had just turned into Dodge City, and we got that back down again, and it continues to go on a downward trend. All right, so we have goals and initiatives for 2017. Our goal in 2017 is to maintain or lower Part 1 crime rate, which is currently at 3.6. This is a per capita measure that allows for a reliable comparison of annual criminal activity across cities of different sizes. It's calculated by dividing annual Part 1 reported crimes by a city's total population, which is then multiplied by 10,000, and divide by 6 and add your weight, and it all goes up. All right. 2017 goals and initiatives. You have the outgoing improvement with community outreach, with the neighborhood watch, district representation, and the online platform we talked about earlier. Just getting the folks in your community involved, reporting crimes, reporting suspicious goings on in your neighborhood, that's our best defense. We can't have sheriff's deputies on every block at every minute or every hour, but we can have neighbors that kind of watch what's going on and make sure that it gets reported. All right, so now we'll move off of public safety over to economic development. And I had them bring up some pictures from when I was a kid. And this is 1956. You'll notice the Roadmasters there at Pierce Brothers Buick on the left-hand side. And I said to Jeff Stewart, what would those cars be worth now if we had them in our possession, You may have remembered that that was right at the northeast corner of Alondra and Bellflower Boulevard. And then we depict what's over there now, where we have the Wawa Burger and the auto parts store and our new restaurant down there at the end of the deal. But that's what I grew up with. There was an umbrella there on the corner. It went around. Pastor Ansdale remembers that. His dad drove a Buick. I'm not sure, but anyway. Here's another one of same intersection across the street. We had a Rambler dealer. So this is on the other side of the street. That was called Donna V. Rambler. And there you see, that's about a 1965-66 picture based on the appearance of that blue Chevy going through the intersection with the top down. And there's an El Camino over there, too, about the same vintage. I have 3 sons. They're 30 to 37 years old. And I say, that used to be a Rambler dealer. And they say, what's a Rambler? Not unlike when you say, what's a Studebaker? All right, here's commercial development again. Depicted here is what originally, when we grew up, that was Greater Central Market. And then, of course, it changed into Donna V, and then he left, and then it became the Honda store. And how many remember the pickle barrel in Greater Central Market? Remember that big barrel? And it was full of all those pickles that your mother would never let you own? Well, anyway, so Golden Corral is now occupying that area. Now, what's interesting about Golden Corral, that originally was going to be placed where Ray Flatibow and Lincoln Mercury is. And I've got another story for you. when I was mayor last time, 4 years ago, a guy came in the store with his wife, a little gentleman, and wearing a yarmulke, and he drove a 97 Prius, and he came in and he says, I'm Dave Gold, and I've just bought the Lincoln Mercury dealership land, and I bought the Suburban Pontiac land, and I'm negotiating to buy the little taco stand between the two, so I'm going to own the whole block from side to side, and I'm here to talk to you about what you'd like to see in Bellflower on that property. So I said, who are you again? He said, I'm Dave Gold. He says, put me on Google, put in Dave Gold 99-cent store. And there he was. He had just sold his business, 350 stores, for $1.6 billion. The guy driving the Prius. So he was just a neat guy, and we met with him more than once in City Hall to try to figure out what to do with that property. And finally we came to a deal, and Golden Corral was going to go over there. And then he died. And the whole deal fell apart with his property. But luckily, we had a chance to get back closer to the freeway, and it worked out to everybody's advantage, because this Golden Corral is currently rated #1 in the nation for volume. We expected when they came to the table that they would do about $6 million a year. They're clocking about $10 million a year. And I'm sure you've ridden by there and seen that there's always a line going out the front door, and that people want to eat at the Golden Corral. Now, I was worried, and you guys who were at the table, Mr. Stewart, Mr. Dutton, I said to the Golden Corral corporate guy from Carolina, what is this going to do to Sizzler? He says, we're going to kill him. I thought, great. You know, we got one going, we're going to take another one. So it opens up, I go over to Sizzler, I talk to the manager, I say, how you doing? He says, we're up 25%. People that don't want to stand in line go to their phone, they say, come down here. Go to Ricky's. Ricky says, didn't bother me. I went to Tom at Marino's. He says, I'm up. So what happens is, when you have something to attract like that to Bellflower, the other businesses increase as well. Jamie Frank's here. He's got a marvelous business on the boulevard. I'm sure it didn't hurt him. Again, we need to bring people to the boulevard, and this is one of the ways we've done it. How am I doing on my time? Okay. All right, housing development. This is the old Clark Center Bowl, and you know now that there's a project there, Live Work, where it's you can own your own condo there. Going forward, that project was put up by City Ventures, and we allowed them to build a little more than they ordinarily could, and the reward that we got for having done that is we got a check from them for $2 million, and that's being invested in the Fire Museum and Event Center that I'll show to you later. So they got a project that was actually sold out before it was finished being built, and they sold for $500,000 and more each. I mean, really cool. More home ownership in Bellflower, a higher demographic for people that have an income that can support that kind of a payment, but it was just a neat thing. Now, let's go back to the bowling alley that we got rid of. The guy sold that bowling alley for $6 million. Now, only he got rid of it because he changed it from bowling alley into a nightclub. And that was all right, but the nightclub caused all kinds of problems in the neighborhood. And then we found out he was operating a nightclub within a nightclub where after 1 o'clock in the morning, all their clothes came off, and so we got rid of them. Small problem, you know. Remember that one, Mike? I've invited Mike Egan here, who's the city manager of Norwalk, because he's lived this with us before Mr. Stewart came, so tweaking a kind of a memory here. All right, when we go around campaigning and we ask people, what is it you like in Bellflower or what is it you don't like, they were always saying, we don't have a dog park. We need a dog park. So we worked out a deal with Hollywood Sports, and I see Dennis and Gio are here today, and they allowed us to take a piece of the land that they have leased from the city, and we turned that into a dog park. And it's a true dog park. It's not a park inside of a regular park. It's strictly for the dogs and their owners to use. And the dogs, I thought they'd fight and carry on. I think the owners fight more than the dogs. But that's okay. The dog park is here, and it's a wonderful place. All right, now here's another story. This is a hotel at 9253 Artesia Boulevard. We had a vacant lot down there, and a gentleman came to town. He said, he invited Ray Dutton, myself, and Randy Stover, and Jeff Stewart. He said, I want to show you my hotel in Inglewood. So we got in the car, and we drove out to Inglewood on Prairie Avenue. The guy's got a wonderful operation there. And I said, why do you want to come to Bellflower? Well, he says, well, the Rams are coming. They're going to build this new stadium over here at Hollywood Parks and there's going to be so much interest in that, I need more housing. And my plan is to come to Bellflower and build a hotel like this, and I'm going to run a bus from Bellflower to the game. They don't have to worry about parking or anything else, and this is what is about. This whole RAM thing is really going to perk things up, and I want to be part of it. So we're working on this right now to get this done. Now, in the meantime, San Diego Chargers says we want to come as well. But I never dreamed that Bellflower was going to be part of this sports complex that's happening in LA and in Carson, that would have an impact on our town, but it will. And by the way, this is not the greatest area of town, so if you want to spend $9 million on a hotel, we said bring it on. That's put you down near Lakewood Boulevard and Artesia. So this could be here we go. We're near Habitat, who's done a wonderful job of bringing up the whole standard on that end of town. All right, projects and programs, SCORE mentoring. All right, because I haven't been keeping up in the book here, give me a chance to go back. I went extemporaneous on you here for a bit, but I thought you'd enjoy my stories. If I have enough time, I'll tell you some more. All right, we're doing this is an example of Economic Development Department and Programming. The SCORE program, which stands for Service Corps of Retired Executives, offers a great opportunity to foster learning and business development among our local businesses based on their insights, seasoned business professionals. And more specifically, ongoing efforts to attract and support small business growth have produced exciting outcomes. So here we have a classroom up in our green room in City Hall, and we have these retired executives come in and give us their expertise. Now we've got some things that were already completed. Now Calaveras Restaurant, that previously was our fire grill, the Fireman's Grill, and they moved out, and now we have true Mexican cuisine there at the Calaveras Grill. Loaded Cafe, they just opened. They're on the area where Pierce Brothers Buick once was, down there at the corner of Bellflower Boulevard and Alondra. French Quarter, they've opened their store up, kind of a Cajun cuisine, and if you want to go way back, they are in Hills Western Saddlery. You got that one, Dorothy, right? All right. All right, Ricky's Deli, they're down there just across from the Golden Corral, and they've been there for years. And because we've received funding to widen the street at that intersection, so you may notice the flower beds in the Golden Corral side, we own part of that already. We bought that from the owner of the property. Now we're doing the same thing across the street, and so as a result, Victory Drug will have to go away, Ricky's Deli will have to go away, and all those little buildings there, so we widen the street. Now we want to keep Ricky's because, again, that's a mainstay in Bellflower. So we worked out a deal where he can go downtown, and he's going to be in the old Eclipse building, which originally was our Starbucks place. So he was able to buy that, and we've got a restaurant consultant, Elizabeth, who works with him on getting this thing up and running, but Ricky's will stay in Bellflower. Ricky's will have a new operation. He'll have outdoor dining, he'll have indoor dining, and that's right next to where the subway is on Bellflower Boulevard, next to the sheriff's station. Jersey Mike's about to open. Again, they're on that same lot where Pierce Brothers Buick used to be. Well-known submarine sandwiches. All right, talk about Ramona Street housing. This property here is in about the 8700 block of Ramona, and we gave an award earlier to Habitat for Humanity, who took this effort on. City had bought this property from the county. We have an opportunity to buy these properties if they go to sale because they haven't paid the taxes, and we got it at a good deal. And we kept it, and we thought, well, what are they going to do with it? Because we can't sell it to a developer per se, because it's got to be a community use. We even talked about putting a community garden in there, because in that area of town, they still want flat rate water. They have no meters, so you could really suck up the water and grow a lot of fruit and vegetables. But anyway, Habitat agreed that they could do a project there, and so we're partnering with them. And it's a little farther along than you see here. But Habitat is more than just building projects. You know, they have this Restore store, which is kind of like a Goodwill for builders. It's got all kinds of neat stuff in it at a discount price. But more importantly than that, they have a training program where they take the kids of our area and they teach them these crafts on these kinds of projects so they can learn about plumbing, electrical, framing, all the aspects of how to put up a building. Now, we sent volunteers over here. We had a work day just in the last month, and they worked all day. I think we had 7 or 10 people there. And I don't know what they know about building, but I was assured on Monday they come back and pull out all the nails that they put on wrong, and there's a regular crew that cleans up the mess that the volunteers make. You know. So the building will be sound. Public Works. Our Public Works Department has managed various development and improvement projects to our city neighborhoods, infrastructure, and facilities. All right, so I don't know if you've driven down Flower Street in the last 6 months, but you can see we really straightened that out. It's nice and smooth and got all new striping, and that's pictured there about Orchard Street and Flower, and it's just really a great improvement. We put some ADA improvements throughout the city, and let's see what we got here. All right, we partnered with a company for energy efficiency. They came to us and said, you know, we've realized a lot of your light fixtures throughout the town, in your buildings, outside the buildings, in your parks, in your swimming pool, throughout the town, are old, outdated, non-efficient fixtures. And you should replace those. And said, well, that's a good theory. Well, how much is that going to cost? I said, well, hear us out. We will replace all those for a price. And we'll prove to you that those new efficient fixtures, including air conditioning in City Hall and other places, will cost, you can pay for the loan to do this with the savings on the power. So, okay. And in fact, they guaranteed it in writing that if they put this thing together and we didn't have a discount that was that great, they would give us our money back. So we did it. And I don't know if you notice now, when you go on city parking lots, they're kind of a dim note, and then there's this motion detector when you come out there, and it comes to a brighter light. Little things like that cause us to save a lot of power, save money, and we bonded for this and are getting the bond paid for with the power. Plus, we got all new fixtures that were on their last leg anyway. So it's really cool. Now, we've also been working on the parking lots behind the church, Vansdale's church there, and behind the substation, all along and restriping it, repaving it, and just sprucing it up as the Bellflower Boulevard comes back to life. This is an ADA improvement, making sure that anybody that needs ADA compliance parking space can use that space and be able to maneuver around the city. Public transportation. Install grant-funded bus shelters. You may have seen these on Bellflower Boulevard. We just are now putting them out. This was a federal program that we got money for, totally paid for by the feds. Lenz has phase 1. He's working on phase 2, whereby we'll go throughout the city and use this. We put a lot of thought into what we wanted to have. We got to choose the color, the emblems. There's a little solar panel on the top there that will emit light from the bulbs below. We just put a lot of thought into that, but we're really proud of those because we've got a lot of good results from the citizens about what we've done here. All right, public spaces here. We completed the trail facility and play area at the city parks. Now, when you came on the parking lot here, I don't know if you looked this way, but before we had a shuffleboard court, and that was a big deal for people of that generation who love to play shuffleboard. Apparently, they've all gone to Rose Hills because they're not playing shuffleboard anymore. And so, I don't think they went to another city. I think they went... So anyway, this is the shuffleboard carts on the left as they go away. And then on the right there, we got a exercise deal there. And it got $300,000, and we got money contributed from the county and from the parks. And the city didn't have to invest a lot. We did some of the infrastructure improvement, but the machinery itself is there, and it's being used all the time. I came down here one Sunday morning, and one entrepreneur, he had actually 10 people in a class he was charging money for, and he was using our equipment. And I guess he should have had a business license, but that was happened. All right, Event Center and Fire Museum. Now, Mike, this is one of the reasons I wanted you to be here, because we talked about this like 8 years ago, right? And that is what we've come up with for the exterior. This is going to be a magnificent building. We've tried to incorporate, two different aspects of this building. First, down below, we've got the Fire Museum. And right now, they're being housed in their building behind Omega Burger on Flora Vista Street. And they have over 50 trucks in their display. Obviously, you can't put all 50 trucks in this museum at one time, but they're going to rotate them out every month or so. They've got horse-drawn stuff. They've got old stuff. They've got newer stuff. They've got Squad 51 from the emergency TV show. I look for them to have schools there. It'll have national prominence when people think about Bellflower and this fire museum. They're going to train firefighters there. They're going to have competitions. It's just going to be cool. Now, on the second floor is an event center that will be able to hold 300 people for any kind of event that needs to be used here in Bellflower. So our idea being that as you come to Bellflower Boulevard and you eat at Frank's or you eat at Marino's or you go to the Golden Corral and you say, now what are we going to do? Now you can come down there on a Friday or Saturday night. The museum will be open and you can spend some time there. The admission will be free and you can see all the neat things that the firefighters do to keep us safe back in the day and currently. We just are really lucky to have the firefighters agree that Bellflower would be their home. We've oriented this a little bit. I'm learning as I go here about weddings and receptions. But, yeah, I have no point of reference here. I had a pointer yesterday that had no light to it, so they got me a pointer, and now I dropped it on the floor. Shine it in my eyes. There you go. Thank you. All right, where are I? Well, anyway, what I'm trying to say is that this thing works. Okay. If you use your imagination here, this deal here, this is called a Romeo and Juliet window. Yeah. And what does that mean? All right, so you're a young bride and you want to get married and you want to have a place for your reception. This is a photo op right here, see? And you're going to have Romeo up there and Juliet's going to be below. What more could you want, Now, only in Bellflower, huh? We've got a staircase, that you put all the wedding party on. What is in the long-range future, what we may have to do is develop an outdoor area for the actual wedding. That way we can keep them on site for the whole, for the wedding, and then they can go inside and have their reception inside this beautiful. This will be just as nice, if not better. We modeled it after Sycamore Center in Lakewood. So it'll have ceilings the same height. It'll have the same kind of ambiance to it. It's not going to be, not to say this room isn't nice, but it's going to take it to the next level. Thank you, Ron, for allowing me to use that. Okay, now I'm going backwards. Bus shelters. I'm still going backwards. Well, here's what I did. I turned the clicker upside down. That happens, in my business, I'm the Maytag repairman. I don't do this, All right, so here's what we do. We have a camera, and it's focused on the developing of the Fire Museum Event Center. And every 30 minutes it takes a picture. This is what was happening yesterday. We poured last week, before it rained, about 16 loads of concrete. And so we got a good base, and we're orienting what kind of outlets go where and how strong it should be. But it's when it starts going up, we at least got a picture of it on Bellflower Boulevard. So we got to show what's coming in the future, and you'll probably see that there. Now, also, City Ventures built another project, and you can see it right back here. And that was where we used to have our bus transit center. So we sold them that property and some other property we had, and that's all been developed into something nice as well. Again, those are condos that all sold, every one of them, at a great $450,000 to $500,000 price to new residents of Bellflower. All right, so goals and initiatives. This is kind of a rehash of what I just talked about. We're trying to, we've got new air conditioning on the buildings like we're standing in City Hall to try to improve our energy consumption and put in new devices so that we continue to have efficiency and longevity. All right, here's improvements to Belmont Theater. You know where this is. It's on the street of Belmont as we go towards City Hall. It's on the left-hand side. And I'm told the gentleman who sang our national anthem, he's an attendee of this, and that's where we get our talent. And that's pretty neat. Obviously, Ron didn't realize that this was a shorter fellow that was going to give the song. He's looking around. Well, anyway. Anyway, so that's our, we're going to put a roof on there. We're going to put some new signage out in front. All right, City Hall project. If you go by City Hall right now, this is a very recent picture, like a day or two ago. We took out all the aprons. The concrete was coming up, and we're going to make all that look presentable in the front of City Hall. Building and planning and building services. Major accomplishments. Now I'm going to read this to you because this is a deal where nobody that if they think that their project isn't going quick enough, they can actually come to City Hall before they start and become self-certified. So they submit all their plans and all their projects, and the self-certification project is another way in which the City of Bellflower is committed to enhancing customer service for our building community. While ensuring that safety standards remain our number one priority, the self-certification program allows one licensed design professional to bypass the normal building plan review process. By utilizing the self-certification program, building permits can be issued over the counter. The self-certification program has been well received. Staff has received well over 100 inquiries about the program in 2016. And from January 1st, 2016 through December 31st, 51 self-certification applications were received and 42 were approved, and they went ahead and built their structure. So that was something that makes it easier to do business in Bellflower. If you've got all these plans ready to go and you can stand by them and they pass muster, we'll let you have your permit and you can begin your building. Code development. We made the code a little friendlier, a little easier to understand. Back in 1962, the planning department at that time, the planning commission, thought in their wisdom that in 40 years that all the housing stock in Bellflower would probably be replaced. And so there's a lot of areas of the city we have what we call a moratorium, whereby if you own a home that's built before 1962 and you would come to City Hall, they wouldn't let you do a room addition. They wouldn't let you change out the windows on your house because so your house should go away. Well, heck, Mount Vernon's still standing, and that's a lot worse weather than we have here. So we've made it easier now. So you can do the roof. You can do the room addition. So this will make the housing stock in Bellflower much better because now you can actually do all the things you want to do, just not the maintenance item like a water heater or a roof. You can actually make changes to the house that are going to make it more appealing. Okay, business license investigations. We investigated some business licenses, and we had total codes 309, residential rental licenses 68, non-residential rental license, so a total of 394 investigations were done by code enforcement. And code enforcement, they opened up 1,913 cases. They closed 1,813. This is a before and after picture. On the left, this is Ron Schnableger's home before he cleaned it up. And you can see it. He's really living well now. Yeah. He didn't want to do it, but we talked him into it. All right, here's another story, before and after. That fence with the graffiti, and you can see that. What a difference. And the one on the left, of course, the chain link fence and the overgrown trees, flora and fauna. And now you look to the right, and it looks like Mayberry. It's just much better looking, and we're proud of the things that have come forward. This is a shopping center here in Bellflower. This was on the corner of Foster and Woodruff, and it looked very, very tired. And the kind of leaned on the owner a little bit to clean it up a little bit. And so you ride by there now, and it looks much, much better. And there's an example of the corner that you see on the left is now transformed to what you see on the right. All right, building services, another picture of our fire museum and event center. And on the right, I wanted to be able to show that we have some projects, single-family residential projects that we call infill projects. We've got 3 that are notable right now. There's one on Hacienda Street, and there's one on Ryan Street, and there's another one on Woodruff that circles around over to Washington. And they're all in different phases of construction, but there's a lot of interest. The area that I'm talking about on Hacienda Street, that's over there near the recycling center. And if you want to go back a little farther, that's National Lumber, the big green building. Now that area back there, the Dutchmen, we call that Jerusalem, because that's where all the Dutchmen live that go to church over there. And so when Builder came and bought this property and proposed putting new homes there, I thought this isn't going to go well because we've got 30-foot wide streets there. So we had a neighborhood watch meeting. Our neighborhood came together and met there at Eleanor Dykstra's house and kind of took a consensus with the builder there and explained what he was going to do. And because there's Beverly Street coming in behind it, there could be some traffic mitigation with that. So as a result, the main question is, what will it do to my own property? How will my house price be impacted in the value here as I live here on Hacienda? Well, when the guy said, I'm not going to sell these houses for less than $700,000, everybody said, hey, I'm in. So this is, again, another opportunity for home ownership in Bellflower. Now, one of the things we face always as city councilmen, people ask us, when are we going to get a Trader Joe's? When are we going to get this? When are we going to get that? And what happens is these companies come to Bellflower and they look at our demographic, and that's a composition of our age, our educational level, our income level, the color of your skin. I mean, that all comes up as a composite as to what kind of businesses will thrive and prosper in Bellflower. Now, as we go forward, we have a lot of folks here, like I said, 68% are renters, and that's cool. But they do not raise our demographic to the level of a Trader Joe's. So when we do the home ownership deal, and these are not rentals, these are people going to live there, that raises all of our boats so that we look more appealing for more businesses to come to Bellflower. And that's the story on encouraging more of these building projects. Goals and initiatives. Continue to review and amendments to the zoning ordinances. We talked about that earlier. We want to make the ordinance user-friendly. We want to make sure that if you want to do a job at your house, our city manager has said, we're looking for a way to say yes when you come to the counter. Not no. We want to say yes to you. And we're going to figure out a way best we can to keep you in compliance, but at the same time, complete the construction that you hope to do. The example is the hotel ordinance. When they came forward and said, we want to put a $9 million hotel in, we start looking at the ordinance on the setbacks and stuff. How can we make this thing work and at the same time not wreck the community, but have him come here and start his business? Goals and initiatives for 2017. Implement our new Comcat GIS module to back code enforcement cases. This is an electronic thing that will be put in the cars so they can put in an address and figure out what's going on with that property. It reports back to City Hall on any code enforcement violations, any history of the city may have had with that particular property, but it'll really make it simpler. We use the same technology in license plate readers, where the squad cars now, many of them have the ability to read these license plates, and they can determine who that car belongs to, where it's from, was it stolen, and that really makes us more efficient in trying to go forward. New construction projects. Okay, this is one by Mesa Verde Construction. Is building what this was you remember Bellwood Hospital on Artesia and Woodruff? There's a vacant lot there right next to Sunray Auto. This project would go there. It's a 30-unit condominium project, and he hopes to start development there, or construction, in July. This one here is located on Artesia Boulevard. If you're at Chris and Pitts and you look to the left, if you look straight, you'll see Ray Dutton's beautiful auto shop, and to the left you will see a big long block wall. And that has car storage in it right now, but that has been sold and is being worked towards a new construction project, 36-unit mix, and that will be kind of perk up that into town again as well for the millennials. Parks and Rec. All right, major accomplishments. Using park facilities, our Parks and Recreation Department supervised and coordinated 16,564 hours of volunteer service over the year 2016. Our Parks and Recreation Department provided 11,570 hours of supervised care at city park facilities in 2016. Whether from a regular daily park use or for reserved gatherings and events, local residents recognize the excellent level of customer service from our Parks and Recreation staff. We've received, for the second consecutive year, the Playful City Award, and that's a coveted award that's given by the Kaboom-sponsored recognition program. Kaboom is a company that came to us and said they had money to develop some of our recreation facilities here in Bellflower. And some of the new park equipment that you see out here at Sims and some of the other parks have been provided by Kaboom. And JetBlue participated, and we had a work day whereby all 250 volunteers came out and put the thing all together in one day. All right, also, Bellflower Parks and Recs, 4 times a year, they put out 28,000 brochures to indicate what the programs are, what's available, what's doing in the park, the times, the costs, and the content of all of our different programs. Christmas tree lighting. A guy came to me right after Christmas, and he flies drones, and he says, I got something you might want. I said, what do you got? And he showed me. He said, I flew a drone over the crowd. I didn't go over the crowd, I was behind it. And I took a picture of how many people attend the Christmas tree lighting. We estimate over 4,000 people came to that event. And that kind of depicts how popular it truly is. Best $100 I ever spent on a I wasn't going to take a picture like that, so I gave the guy $100, said leave me the video. All right, so food trucks and flicks. Again, this is something that we kind of took off the table when the recession hit in 2009 and 10. We have had enough income now to bring this back. Very, very popular. It's not unusual to see 400 or 500 people watching movies, and we bring the bands out, it'll be triple that amount. We have hot trucks come in, they can buy tacos, they can buy snow cones, they can buy anything they want, and it just gives the young families in our town, and the old ones too, to see the different movies shown on that big screen on Bellflower Boulevard. But it's really a neat program to get the community involved. This is a picture of the Bellflower Car Show. Larry Wehage and the Lions partner with the city to bring this car show to life every year. It's held in September. And I'll give you the statistics. Larry, how many cars come to that show? There you go. See, you heard it from the horse's mouth. So, and he's an ex-law enforcement, so we know he wouldn't fib. All right, Bravo. We just had our recent Bravo Awards. That was 2 weeks ago. And you can see we honored many law enforcement individuals, and we had the firefighters and the council. And give it up for the law enforcement and the firefighters. You know, again, what the mayor has the choice of who comes to be the speaker for this thing. And so we had a list of what's in our budget, and Richard Dreyfuss was on there. I thought, that could work. We talk about American Graffiti, which kind of Bellflower Boulevard was when we were kids, and Jaws, and all the movies he's played over the years that kind of cut through a lot of generations. And I invited my friends, I got Richard Dreyfuss all signed up, and it was between him and Kurt Russell. I figured if we got Kurt Russell, we might even get Goldie Hawn. You don't know. Well, it went with Richard Dreyfuss, and he backed out. Yeah. So we went back to the place that offers these names, and we got Roy Firestone. Roy Firestone was better than 10 Richard Dreyfusses. And he was $2,000 cheaper, but that's another story. He did a wonderful job. I mean, he made his own video, he sang, he told some stories, he told some jokes, and I regard it to be one of our best Bravo Awards. Bellflower Relay for Life. This is something that we do every summer. Cancer walk. It goes on for about 2 days. Usually about $125,000 is raised. And there's pictures of people that participated in the Bellflower team that walks and walks and walks throughout the night to raise money to defeat cancer. Goals and initiatives. Promote health and wellness through our daily programming at the parks, the aquatic centers, and open spaces. We're going to streamline the recruitment process for recreation class instructors so it'd be easier to hire folks to run these different programs that we have put in place. We also have the service club luncheon every year, and then we bring together all the different service clubs throughout the city, and we meet together in this room, and every year we change off as to who's in charge of that. And then we had our backpack drive. We collect money from the people in the community. We put 646 backpacks together, and we had a blood drive. 25 people gave blood for that. But we have the chance to help these kids that don't have much, to make sure when they go to school they got all the equipment they need to study well. And a note on that. I am so honored to have every member of the Bellflower Unified School District come to this deal. It is really cool. I don't know if that's happened before, but it happened on my watch, and I'm going to honor that. Superintendent, thank you for being here. That's really neat. City clerk. Now, I'll be honest with you. When I became a councilman, I didn't know what the city clerk did except take minutes. I mean, who knows? And for years, remember Deb Backup was our city clerk for 35 years. So, and every one time she's about to retire, we'd always say, can you do one more election? Just one more election. Well, anyway, we ran out of that option, and she quit and retired and went off into the sunset. But not to fear. Here's what we do. City clerk completed the activity for the November 8, 2016 special election. We processed the 410 public records requests. We coordinate all future district elections. So as we transition from an at-large city and go to districts, this is kind of in the city clerk's wheelhouse to try to make sure that all goes smooth. And it's an important thing. We hired Myro Chichi, and she hit the ground running. She's a wonderful addition to she always worked for us, but now she is in charge of that department. And here we have a depiction of one of her responsibilities, and that was swearing in of Councilmember Juan Garza, which happened about 7 months ago. And there you see her reading the proper things, and his family's there to support him. All right, here's some announcements from the city clerk's office. General municipal election is Tuesday, March 7, 2017. Polls will be open from 7 in the morning till 8 p.m. And if you'd like more information about voting, call the city clerk's office or visit the city's website. And okay. So that pretty well concludes what we're doing here in Bellflower. And I want to take a moment to just thank you all for listening. You may have noticed that the flag in the city right now is at half staff. And I ordered those flags brought down yesterday because we lost Dorothy King, one of our past mayors. Now, during my watch, we have lost 3 of our past mayors. Ken Cleveland, Ray Smith, and now Dorothy King. And that means something to those. When we're on the council, you're always cognizant of the seat that you're sitting in that was once occupied by that person. Juan Garza's in Scott Larson's chair. Ray Dutton is in John Pratt's chair. Sonny is in Ray Smith's chair. I'm in Dorothy King's chair. Mr. Schnableger is in Randy Baumgart's chair. So we always have an affinity for that, what happens. But I just want to thank you for coming out today. I want to thank you for all the support you give. I mean, we have the leaders of the Bellflower here, the firefighters, we have the sheriff department, we have city staff who does such a wonderful job for us. And I want to thank you on behalf of my city colleagues. Thank you for coming and have a great afternoon.